Good evening, everyone. My name is J Dub, and I'm putting together another video for you today. And this one's going to be fun because this one's not going to be about sports. It's not going to be about repairs. It's not going to be about music. It's not going to be about nature or anything weird like that. This video is going to be about media politics. Media politics, the political machine that is the media, and how it can polarize our country in general. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because two of the prominent media anchors on rival networks, CNN and Fox News, were fired today within an hour of each other. And I found that very interesting. So, and I've been kind of looking, I've been kind of keeping my eye on this for a little bit on both of these guys, just because I want just to kind of get my political background. I guess you can say I'm pretty moderate, in a sense of when I on my political views, based on, I'm not really swayed by either political party as far as Republican, Democrat, red, blue. I'm really not tied to a political party that way. I guess you can say I'm somewhat centric, and depending on the candidate and pretty much in the nature of our country at that moment in time, I could vote for either red or blue, either way. I have that pretty much that sense to to elect the right person for the job for that particular situation, based on the political climate of our country at that point, and also the if that person is the right person for the job. So I'm the perfect person to talk about this, because I don't really have a horse in the race as far as who am I behind or anything. I'm not behind anybody really. I just go straight off the truth and the facts of the matter, and I'll talk about it as such. So yeah, it's pretty much like I said, it's pretty much an interesting situation, and they have their similarities and they have their differences based on how they were fired. So I think it's pretty interesting to talk about that. So let's get it right into it, and let's start with the left. Let's start with let's talk about CNN in general, and we can all agree that CNN is a liberal, blue, left-winged, centric network. I think we all can agree that. We agree with that. People that tend to lean towards the Democratic Party tend to watch CNN more so for political guidance and political advice, more so than someone that is of the right, red, Republican centric thought process. Some people, Republicans can tend to watch that just to have ammunition for, when they have frustrations about the other, and vice versa. So we can all agree. So let's just say we all agree that CNN is pretty much a Democratic centric network. So let's get that out the way, and then now when we look at what happened on the side of CNN, Don Lemon was fired today. Now, Don Lemon was used to be the host of Don Lemon Tonight from 2014 to 2022. In 2022, he was moved and taken off of the primetime slot that he had. I think it was like 7 o'clock, I want to say. Could have been 8 o'clock, but it was moved from that platform to CNN this morning. He was moved on there with, I think his co-hosts were Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins. And from when I was told, he was upset about that because he lost his primetime slot. Obviously, I would be upset about that too. And also he was mad, and then when he got on there, he was upset that he wasn't the central piece of that show. Initially, he wanted to be pretty much the face of the show. Basically, he didn't want to share the duties with the two women that were already on the show, which because of his stature, pretty much at that time at CNN, he still wanted to maintain his, his status. He didn't want to be in an equal situation, I'm guessing. So, but that's just, that's just rumors. I'm just going off the research I did, and so also, I think, and I think when he was fired today, they said CNN said they gave him an opportunity to pretty much ceremoniously quit, announce his resignation on air to all his viewers, which is always the proper way of sending off pretty much a high powered anchor. That's always the proper way of doing it whenever whether it be a resignation or or firing, anything like that. You want to give them the opportunity to kind of speak to their viewers and let them know what's going on, what happened, kind of get their voice out there and let the viewers know what's going, kind of a little bit what's going on, that they're leaving, and then he can have like a ceremonious exit. He didn't get a chance to do that because he decided to go on Twitter and announce his resignation himself and say, basically they resigned him, they didn't let him know, and he feels like there were bigger powers at play at this point. So he decided to go that route with it rather than do it on air and say ceremoniously that I'm leaving, and it was a fun ride, and I'm doing other bigger, better things. I'm gonna do a podcast, which he's probably gonna do, because he's a big personality. Regardless, he's gonna have a following. I'm gonna have a podcast, and he's gonna talk about whatever he wants to talk about on that, and catch me on that, basically. So he went that route with it. So you get, if you get the opportunity to kind of do it the right way, then it's up to you whether you want to go that route or you want to go your own way and kind of spin it to make it seem like you were you're discriminated, but it's all hearsay or how it really went down. So we can really at this point we can only speculate. But what I will say is that there were some rumblings, that were, and there was some writing on the wall, which I would call that when they moved him to CNN this morning. That was what you would call writing on the wall, that he's in deep water. So I kind of saw that coming from when I first saw that he was moving from his primetime slot to CNN in the morning. That's when I was like, oh yeah, he's in some deep water somewhere, with the network, and he didn't really help it, because there was some reports that he had some questionable comments with women, and case in point, one of them that made headlines was when he made those comments about a woman. I think she came on the show, and she was a GOP supporter, and I guess she was an older woman, and he referenced her prime, as in she was not in her prime really to speak on the topics that she was speaking on. I guess she was saying that women are in their primes in their 20s, their 30s, and 40s. This is on air too, mind you. So, and this was in February when this happened, actually, and I read about this when it happened, and I was like, wow, he really said that on air, and in front with two women on the show, so both of the women were feeling like, hey, you can't really be, how can you really define when our prime is on air, so that's kind of wild, for you to bring that up. So that can be seen as discrimination. So they, so he had to make a statement about that, and he apologized or whatever, and then took some time off, came back on the show like nothing happened. And then on top of that, there were, the ratings got poor, on the show ever since he came on as another anchor on the show, and all that really kind of compiled into basically him, and him eventually getting kicked to the door, basically saying that, hey, not necessarily kicked to the door, but you know saying, well, hey, we're making CNN feel like they need to move on from him, and because they really didn't have a place for him at that point, like, because they move you from prime time to the morning. That's a big shift in my opinion. In the news. I mean, I'm not the I'm not the smartest man in the world when it comes to just pretty much media placement. But when you go from prime time to first thing in the morning, that's kind of a lateral. That's not a lateral move. That's just like, this is your last chance. You know what I'm saying, to kind of, hopefully this will work out for you, type of a deal. So I felt that it was writing on the wall, basically, for it to happen. And then and there's also just other little rumblings within the network about him, about some of the comments he made towards some women, and it didn't help that he was mad that he couldn't drink on New Year's Eve on air, because of New Year's Eve. They said he can't drink on New Year's Eve, and he caused a ruckus about that, per sources. So, there's little things like that, especially as a black man, when you make little rumblings like that, and also, just to put this out there, as a black man, if you work anywhere, I don't care where you work. I care you work at the gas station, if you have female coworkers, you don't want to make it very uncomfortable for them, because that's the quickest way out the door. I guarantee it. You got make anything uncomfortable for the women at work, there's definitely going to be an issue with that. So, and that's why I don't date at work. I try to stay away from work relationships and things like that. Even if women are coming on, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm trying to keep my job. Because the minute something goes wrong with that, whether you was in the right or the wrong, something's gonna happen. Case in point, Ime Udoka. What I'm saying? It was a consensual relationship, if we remember correctly. That was supposed to be consensual, but somehow he lost his job. Now he got his job back in Houston as of today, but it took him a year to kind of get back on his feet from that situation, even though it was a consensual relationship. I mean, we don't even know who the woman is, right? And see how that works. As a black man, you can't play with that at all. You know what I'm saying? You can't go into a workplace and expect to, act a fool with the women at work. It just doesn't work like that. So I think that, in a combination of, just little rumblings and, the ratings and the fact that they was trying to, they had to overhaul their whole primetime slot, because, you already heard about Chris Cuomo losing his spot because he was helping his brother out in his election in New York. All that, it's just all that kind of snowballed into, what, we need to just move on and start fresh and try to do something different. Man, I'm already hearing about them doing something with with Charles Barkley and Gayle. They're about to have like a primetime slot sometime next year. I'm interested to see how that goes, because they got to have some type of black representation on the show, because, like I said, it's a left-centric type of platform. So they, you got to have some African American representation, on the show somewhat, to keep the African American viewers interested in the Democratic Party, because that's just what it is. That's just my opinion, from a centric standpoint. I'm in the middle. I stay in the middle when it comes to political things, so I can't be swayed unless you prove something to me. So just put that out there. But anyway, that's basically how it went down with Don Lemon. He basically was, in both of these cases, I'll say that it was hubris. Their hubris and their entitlement kind of was their demise. It's just pretty much what it boils down to. It was just basically, it was just entitlement, thinking that they were untouchable, and they can say whatever they want to say, about certain situations. They're speaking too loosely, not realizing not realizing there's people watching, and then just depending on how big the backlash is, anybody can get touched. So that's pretty much what it boiled down to, is that he got too comfortable in this position, and he got used to it. You can get so comfortable in a certain position, you can saying things and doing things. You get comfortable with that, even in any job. You get so comfortable with it that you don't, like you don't think when you say. You just kind of have diarrhea in the mouth. You just start saying stuff. Like even in a relationship, like if you get too comfortable talking crazy to somebody in a relationship, you're just gonna just say things that you just shouldn't be saying, and then it's just gonna lead to more problems, more toxicity, and then at the end of the day, it's gonna blow up, and then either you guys gonna have to separate or something bad's gonna happen. So that's pretty much how both of these situations kind of went down. But so now you kind of got an idea of how the Don Lemon situation went down. Let's talk about Tucker Carlson, excuse me. Now, Tucker Carlson is the host of Tucker Carlson Lot Tonight on Fox News. Now, with Fox News, I guess we can all agree that Fox News is very right-wing centric and Republican red, centric news network. And they're not shy about it. They're going to be right with it, and that's their audience, and their audience swears with it, and that's just pretty much how it goes down. If Fox News is Republican, it is what it is. If you watch it, you'll see it can be, at times it'd be blatant. At least sometimes CNN tries to mask it a little bit and make it seem like we're trying to be a bit centric in the middle, but Fox News, I think for the most part, they don't. They make it clear that they're Republican centric, straight up. Now, Tucker Carlson, to me, one thing about me when it comes to news is I don't like when any type. I don't care what side you're on. I don't care what type of news, what you're reporting on. Don't lie to me about anything. I don't like to be lied to when it comes to news and your opinion. And your opinion has to be based on facts. If you have an opinion. You can have an opinion. You can disagree with anything you want, but your opinion has to be, the foundation of your opinions has to be based on facts. And the one thing I didn't like about him was that a lot of his opinions were based on lies. And I don't like that. I watch a lot of Republican, centric media personalities, and when their opinions are based on truth, I tune into it. I want to hear their side of it, because that helps me as a centric moderate, kind of make pretty much informed decisions on who I'm going to vote for, or whenever I'm doing like any type of votes, whether it be local, state, federal, any type of election, and I'm trying to vote. I want to hear both sides. That's just how I want to hear both sides. And when you're reporting on that as well, I want to hear both sides. I want to hear both sides. I want to hear pretty much your opinion based on facts. So basically, and these aren't even things that he got fired for. I'm just saying this in general. He used to lie about the election and how that went down. That saying that was a conspiracy and all this stuff, and it wasn't no conspiracy, man. It was a vote. We all voted as Americans. We voted, and we voted on a presidential candidate, and the other candidate won. That's just how it goes, and that's how it's been going since pretty much when the Constitution was written up. That's just how it works. Sometimes a Republican wins, sometimes a Democrat wins. That's just how it goes. Either way, that's just what it is. You got to deal with it. Wait until the next election, and then hopefully it shifts in your favor. That's just how election goes. So saying it's conspiracy was kind of wild. So, he lied about that. He also lied about the Capitol riots, saying that was, there was a lot of that it was valid or whatever. It was just he was just making it seem like it was okay, do something like that on TV. Basically, we watched it unfold on TV in front of our faces. We saw how it went down, and how and the politicians and the police officers that were harmed and hurt, and and just we watched it, and just to see someone sit on TV in front of you and lie about something you literally watched is wild to me. You feel me? So I just didn't I just didn't rock with him for some of those things. Just pretty much anything that and the thing about it is those things they lied about brought viewership to the network. Because some people really believe that shit, and so they wanted to pretty much so they tuned in to just to listen, just to hear what they wanted to hear, basically. So it created viewership. So that's why nobody batted an eye. That's why nobody really fired him for that reason. Wasn't the reason. And the funny thing about it, and the reason that everybody thinks he got fired, ain't even the reason why he got fired. The reason why he got because if you've been paying attention to the news, that Fox News has been getting sued by the Dominion voting system, that for because they were airing the claims that they rigged the election. Like they were pretty much Fox News. They were saying that Fox News was pretty much putting them on air, pretty much false claims, which were proven that to be false in court, that they were rigging the election. So just recently they won the pretty much the suit, and it was like for $780 million. So they're almost $1 billion they won in a lawsuit in the lawsuit, because they were pretty much putting on air that they rigged the election. So, and that's probably one of the biggest lawsuits for defamation in the history of the United States, I would say. That's a lot of money that Fox News is coming out their pockets, and even then, I don't think he wasn't even fired for that. What he was fired for was that during the court proceedings, they made his private messages public, because because he was one of the people that they were saying that he was one of the people that was defaming, the Dominion voting system, and they were through that process, and ironically, that wasn't like the main piece of evidence that ultimately made them decide to sue, to pretty much to win the case. It was just the fact that his private messages had all this other stuff in it that was pretty much defaming the company. So they were like, this is embarrassing that we're seeing, because everybody can see all these private messages of him talking mess about the company, and talking mess about how they were pretty much they were making it hard on him, because they were telling him that you shouldn't be lying on camera. And he was like, no. He's like, man, they're pretty much trying to make, and he was just telling pretty much other people, through his private messages, that they're crazy. This company's crazy. They're just like the liberals, and they're trying to take me, they're trying to take my voice away, and all this, and just all this other stuff, that because basically he was saying he was going against the company in private, in private messages, and yeah, he's their biggest anchor, doing a prime time show. It's like, it's like somebody being a top salesperson in a company, and then they're saying, behind everybody's back, like, man, I hate this company, man, I ain't, they don't deserve any of this money, I should get, just talking just wild mess, and then turning around, doing business with a company. And they're like, you can't do business with people like that. And then, and then on top of that, there's also some alleged allegations that he also had some sexist comments, or some questionable comments, I should say, to women in the workplace as well, and even some on air. Some on air. He was accused of calling a woman the C word, on air. And so like, it's stuff like that. See, it's all, but that's funny, because it's like, if you're seeing the parallel between the two of these situations, is that they're over the same stuff. They're doing stuff you shouldn't do at work, basically. You shouldn't talk crazy about the company. You shouldn't shouldn't publicly show hubris within your company. You shouldn't talk about women, or have, questionable comments towards women at work. You shouldn't. It's just all stuff you're you shouldn't be doing at work. You know what I'm saying, in front of and on Front Street. You know, to where everybody can, because this all gets documented. It all gets documented, and it all creates a snowball effect of where, no matter how big you are in the company, no matter what type of status you have in the company, at some point your company has to say, you know what, man, it'll be better off if we just cut ties and start fresh and start new. You know, because we can find another personality or somebody that can take this place and then create those viewerships. That's what, because that's how they're thinking about it at the end of the day. Both of these companies, both of these media outlets, I should say. So basically, so I'm just saying that's why I basically called this video "Balancing the Force," because now you got two of the biggest media anchors on two rival networks who've just been let go of that position, and now it leaves both networks in situations like now, as into what are they going to do now as far as who's going to be who's going to take up those slots, who's going to funnel in, who's going to suck in those viewerships, and how are they, in what direction are they going to go moving forward, as far as like, are they going to come closer to the center, which is what I think is going to happen. I think both of these networks are pretty much going to be in a situation where they're going to be forced to come to bring it more into the center, as far as their confidence. So it's not going to be as red as it used to be, and it's not going to be as blue as it used to be on both ends of it, because you have both of these major anchors on both sides pretty much losing their position. So I think hopefully, you know, I think there should be more centrism within both networks, because of this. That's what I'm hoping for, because then I can watch both networks and I can get more information based on politics, and I can just get a little bit more red on one side, a little more blue on another side. But ultimately, I'll get factual news on both sides. You know, that's all I ask for. I want you to just give me straight up the facts. You know, that's, if you give me, I don't care how, you know, what your opinion is, really, just as long as your opinion is based on facts, based on, you know, just the right thing. Your opinion could be on whatever, but as long as it's based on facts, then, you know, I'm gonna have my own opinion on it based on that. You know, and I'm gonna respect your opinion regardless. That's just how I operate. I may disagree with you, but I respect your opinion because it's based on facts. So hopefully this is the shift that I see in the media world, is that these two networks ultimately start becoming less polarizing. You know, because that's the biggest problem with our country nowadays, is that we're so polarizing, and that's kind of in by design, because, you know, it's easier to control people when when two sides are pitted against each other. When everyone is one and everyone is together, it's harder to control the masses. So, you know, keep that in mind as well, because it is what it is. You know, you can't control. We need to start thinking about coming together more, rather than being so apart and being so left and so right and so red and so blue about everything, and start thinking more, you know, together, and what's best for the country as a whole. So I hope this is somewhat of I know it's not going to be a big shift, but I hope it starts a ripple of people saying, you know, rather than saying this, I'm on this side or I'm on that side, or I'm watching this news network and I'm watching this news network, or you're crazy for watching that network, or you're crazy for watching that news outlet, that, you know, everybody's kind of closer to the center on making sound decisions for our country. So that's where I'm at with it. Maybe you're not there with me, but, you know, that's my opinion. You know, you can be on one side, or you can be on the other side, you know, whatever. But that's just how I personally feel. That's why I hope for, and I hope, you know, I see a difference with that between now and the next election, because we're gonna have to make a decision on who's gonna run our country again. You know, and hopefully it's the right person. Hopefully, whether it be blue or red, doesn't matter. You know, hopefully it's the right person that leads us into the right direction, because I think, you know, we still got a lot of work to do. So I'm gonna leave this video at that, and I hope you get something out of it. I hope it was a good video. You know, like I said, I'm gonna get better at these videos, making stuff like this, and I'm definitely gonna kind of keep my eye on this situation. I'm gonna keep my eye on other little situations that I feel are gonna should help the country, or help pretty much bring things to the center. So I think this is one of those situations that could cause a ripple effect that'll help bring things kind of closer to outside of inside away from polarity. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys, I hope you guys have a good night. You guys like it, you know what I'm saying? Just give me a shout out. Appreciate it. Man, I appreciate everybody's love and support. You know, that's why I do these videos, because you guys keep telling me I should do stuff like this. So yeah, again, I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good night. And enjoy the ride. You know, it's gonna be fun from here, man. Gonna be more content from me. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys. You know, give me comments, give me support. You know, whether it be on the channel, on my little channel, or just hit me up on the phone. I appreciate it, man. That's what it's all about. You know, I appreciate the support. I don't need you know, it's good. It's good stuff, man. I'm gonna keep doing it, man. I appreciate you guys. I was gonna say that after every video. You know, it's just all about you guys. It's all about, you know, making it fun for you guys.